Aren't you going to say hello? It's the power. Here's Johnny!
Anthropophagous is a 1980 Italian horror film directed, written, and produced by the talentless hack Joe D'Amato, who had made 99 films prior to making this. It was shot on 16mm and was later upscaled to 35mm and was the cheapest film of his career and the first film his company Filmirage had made. The film is about a group of brain-dead tourists visiting Greece, particularly an island where some friends are on. However, once they get to an island, they find communications are down and the town is deserted. And slowly they discover dead bodies and are picked off by a cannibal, known as Klaus, who for some reason, leaves a bunch of corpses around the town. Seeing as there's nothing positive to say about this movie, I'll just jump into the negatives. For starters, the film's presentation looks like it was made for $100 and a can of Sprite, given how lazy the lighting is, almost always having flashlights and unnatural lighting when characters are only using lamps and candles, with lighting being anywhere but where it should be. The ADR, as in the dubbing, is worse than a film from the 60s such as the Dollars trilogy.
Let's go over to my friend's house. I'm sure they'll put us up for the night.
Didn't hear what the bet was.
The special effects, mainly a head in one of the earlier scenes, is shockingly awful, worse than what you'd see in the 1950s. The editing in the films is terrible, with scenes very clearly being filmed all on the same day with no time passing despite time being said to have passed, and in one scene two characters randomly appear at the villa when they were shown to be in a far-off cave, on the same day with no time having passed, as if it was cut to make it flow faster without any care to make sure it makes sense continuity-wise. Many scenes have aimless direction that consists of walking around and talking about banal things you won't remember in 5 minutes. Come to think of it, Anthropophagous shares this and a similar setup and character archetypes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, except it does it even worse. Simply put, the film is boring, and doesn't live up to its reputation. It's not particularly gruesome and is just a slow film that hardly even shows the killer, and here that's an issue. Maybe it's because I'm a bit desensitized to gore in horror at this point, but I'm not really seeing why this movie was so controversial to the point it was put on the United Kingdom's video nasties list. There's only 2 remotely graphic kills and even then they're not that bad. The only reason I can think of for making the list was the scene where Klaus pulls a fetus out of a pregnant woman and eats it, and even then it's very cheesy. Even for the time there were films more violent, namely the Friday the 13th series. Overall, Anthropophagous is an awful movie that was boring and laughably bad even in spite of drinking with a friend. I'd give it a 0 out of 10. And that'll be the video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it please be sure to follow me on social media.